Good evening, dear viewers who are watching us live on RTD channel. Here are our top stories for tonight. This morning at the Presidential Palace, a meeting took place between the Djiboutian and Somali presidents. On the international news, 200 families trapped in an area controlled by Islamic State. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo left Djibouti today after a 24-hour visit. During his stay in Djibouti, the Somali president held talks with the President of the Republic, which include a number of issues, notably in bilateral relations, expanding economic and trade exchanges for all sectors of activity between the two countries, and Djibouti's leading role in bringing peace and stability to the brotherly people of Somalia. The strengthening of bilateral relations, the extension of economic and commercial exchanges to all sectors of activity, the poor to an even more efficient level of the precious contribution that the Republic of Djibouti brings to the stabilization and pacification of Somalia were, among other things, at the heart of discussions between the President of the Republic and his Somali counterpart. The context of gradual withdrawal of AMISOM forces from Somalia and the need to overcome the pre-existing situation of a security vacuum in the country were another aspect of the discussions between the two heads of state. On this last point, President Gele and Mr. Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo discussed alternative security and defense strategic mechanism for the Somali armed forces to guarantee by 2021 the final date for the withdrawal of any AMISOM contingent in Somalia, the integrity of their territory and the security of property of people in Somalia. The one-on-one meeting between the presidents of Djibouti and Somalia were preceded by an enlarged working audience for the respective staff of the two heads of state. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Mr. Ali Hassan Badon, the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and Minister of Justice, Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, the Secretary General of the Government, Mr. Abdul Mohammed and the Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to the Federal Republic of Somalia, Mr. Aden Hassan, took part in this extending and working meeting. On the Somali side, the Minister of Defense, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Ali, the Chief of the General Staff of the Somali Armed Forces, General Tahir Aden Ilmi, the National Security Advisor, Mr. Abdi Saeed, Ambassador of the Republic of Somalia for the Republic of Djibouti, Mohammed Ali, and the Director of Communication at the Presidency. The Minister of Defense, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Ali, said in an interview he granted us that the two heads of state have addressed issues of common interest, including the strengthening of bilateral relations, the extension of economic and commercial exchanges to all sectors of activities. The two presidents, he said, also addressed the emerging context of the gradual withdrawal of AMISOM forces from Somalia and the need to step upstream to a prejudicial situation of a security vacuum in Somalia was also another aspect of discussions between the two heads of state, concluded the Minister of Defense, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Ali. In a statement after the meeting, the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Justice, Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, appreciated the strong relations between Djibouti and Somalia. The relations between the Republic of Djibouti and Somalia are distinct, he said, and today's visit falls within the framework of fraternal relations between the peoples of the two countries and in particular with President Mohamed Farmajo. The visit of President Mohamed Farmajo comes during a regional tour that includes a number of countries, has concluded the Minister of Justice. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, has also received today, Wednesday, in the middle of the afternoon, at the Palace of the Republic a high-level American delegation led by Senator James Mountain Inhofe. Ways and means to further promote and develop the relations and friendship and cooperation already favored between the two countries were the focus of discussions, and during this meeting, the members of the delegation led by Mr. Inhofe had especially fruitful exchanges with President Guelleh, particularly regarding the strategic partnerships between the Republic of Djibouti and the United States of America. The American delegation mainly gathered the views of the President on geostrategic changes and the many challenges, including security challenges, facing our sub-region. President of the Republic reiterated to his hostess the commitment and the permanent availability of our country to work with the United States in the achievement of the objectives of peace and stability in this part of the world. Djibouti and the United States have unique relations in many key sectors, including defense and security, the economy and energy development. In terms of defense and security, the exceptional nature of U.S.-Djibouti relationship is illustrated by the fact that our country is home to the only military base that the United States has in Africa. It is also illustrated by the fact that both countries are spearheading the international program to fight terrorism and extremism of all kinds in Djibouti, and the United States also serve as a model of collaboration in the economic and energy field. The delegation led by Senator James Mountain Inhofe to President Guelleh, including 5 other members of the U.S. Congress, the Ambassador of the United States of America to the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Larry Andre, took part in this meeting. On the Djiboutian side, in addition to the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Ali Hassan Badon, the head of the National Security, Hassan Saeed Khairé, and the Secretary General of the Presidency, Mohammed Abdullahi Wa'ais, participated in this meeting. In an interview he gave us, the chairman of the Assembly's Foreign Affairs Committee, Mr. Abdurrahman Awali Yassin, talked about the audience between President Guelleh and the American officials. He said they exchanged views on the ways and means to deepen these already privileged relations, but also the state of relations of friendship and cooperation between the two countries and the two peoples, and they also discussed the economic aspect of the Djibouti-American cooperation, he said. Under the high patronage of His Excellency President Ismail Omar Guelleh and First Lady of Djibouti, Khadra Mohammed Haid, the official opening ceremony of the African Excellence Project on the Development Impact took place in the Campiski Palace Hotels. Let's follow Mohammed Adam's report on this event.
It is under the aegis of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, that was held the official opening ceremony of the project on excellence in Africa for the impact on development. These 10th editions took place at Campiski Palace Hotel early this morning in the presence of the First Lady Khadra Mahmoud Haid, member of the government, the President of the Assembly, and the senior executives of the country. This large-scale event brought together more than 400 experts from 12 African countries, including Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria, Niger, Senegal, Togo, and Gambia and Guinea. This 10th workshop will build relationship between African universities to bring out universities of excellence and put knowledge sharing at the center of the discussion. that will take place over the next 10 days. Professor experts will consult on the program, discuss the whole program, the allocations of center, the implementation plan structures, and above all, the sharing of experience by the experts.
Excellence, Monsieur le Président de la République de Djibouti.
The Secretary General Etienne Ihaile said in his speech that the African Centers of Excellence project is one of the most innovative projects aimed at providing Africa with the technical know-how needed to meet its many development challenges, raising the challenges of higher education and high-performing research should not simply be the sole responsibility of the Ministry of and Higher Education institution, but a collective and individual historical responsibility for all those involved in education, he says in essence.
Le nouveau projet de Centre d'excellence africain pour un impact sur le développement, dénommé S-Impact.
As for him, the representative of the World Bank, Atusek, said during his speech that the project of the African Centers of Excellence is a win-win initiative because it will help young people to fulfill their aspirations, and it will help companies to find sharp profiles without having to call on expatriates, and in doing so to strengthen their competitiveness in international markets. Students in Africa, he said, urgently needs quality science and technology programs to position themselves in regional and global labor markets. This 10th workshop, which officially opened this morning under the leadership of the President of the Republic, will enable the establishment of the first centers of excellence in terms of qualified training in booming sectors such as extractive industry and infrastructure, but also health and telecoms. This project of African Centers of Excellence is an innovative regional response to make higher education more relevant to Africa's development. This center represents an integrated, cost-effective and efficient regional solution to strengthen the service offer. This workshop has for objective is to give the regional responses for the innovation and development to the countries of Africa in the field of higher education.
The Minister of Higher Education, Mr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, during his speech for this occasion, said that to have a strong economic growth requires a skilled workforce in booming sectors. The Center, he said, of Excellence is an integrated regional solution economically. The head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, has delivered an important speech emphasizing that African Centers of Excellence are a focal point for skills and knowledge on issues related to Africa's economic growth and development. Let's listen to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it is a great pleasure to be here today to launch our very own African Center of Excellence. I would like to thank the World Bank Group, the French Development Agency, the Association of African and the University of Djibouti for all their hard work in bringing this pivotal project to life. I believe that projects such as this one are truly the missing link in our quest for growth and economic transformation. What I mean by that is, given our continent's growing population and the increasing rate of economic growth, it is crucial that we harness our human capital and provide our youth with the cutting-edge skills needed to leapfrog most of the obstacles that are holding us back. I am also a firm believer in providing African solutions to African problems, and in that sense, the African Center and in that sense, the African Center of Excellence does just that by providing postgraduate training and applied research in priority sectors tailored to our specific needs and competitive advantage. I am thus very pleased that Djibouti's ACE project will focus mainly on logistics and transports, an area where we have some natural advantage, but in which we have also heavily invested.
The festivities of the 40th anniversary of the Real Life for Progress Party kicked off last night in Dakhil under the leadership of the party Vice President Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed in Dakhil. This symbolic city that saw the birth of the RPP on March 4, 1979, and that gives full meaning to the preponderance of the national unity consolidation in the spirit of the founding fathers of the party, especially the first in between Hassan Goulet Abtidon, peace to his soul, who declared that all is to be created in our desert. We have schools to build, roads to draw, hospitals to build, drilling well, and enemies to fight. Let us join forces to move forward, and the rest will come. The history will prove him in right, as well as the heirs who will take the torches under the aegis of the most illustrious among them, Mr. Ismail Margile, who will host the oldest of the political parties of the country toward more progress, economic development, democracy, and human values, as well as principles. President Ismail Margile and President of the Party for Progress will make of them an organization carrying new ideas that are based on the most essential of which unity and national cohesion, convictions on which the head of state will return as a leitmotif at the closing ceremony of RPP for summer university, stating that only a united society in phase with itself and who has defeated the demons of division and tribalism is able to claim sustainable development. It is imbued with these principles dear to the party that the Vice President of the party, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, went yesterday afternoon to the City of Unity, where a strong delegation was waiting for him, composed entirely of the first Central Committee of the party, as well as the current one of the several members of government, many senior party executives, and several party supporters from civil society. True to its reputation as a unity city, the Dakhil population shone on thousands last night by welcoming the Vice President of the RPP and his delegation. On the program for the evening of 19 February in the City of Unity, a musical evening where songs and dances were in the honor of the party, and a flame light symbolizing the opening of this ceremony, highlighting the 40 years of the party who will travel the 5 regions of the country. And finally, early this morning, festivities continued from the RPP Party Foundation Memorial Site, where Party Vice President Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, deans, party members and supporters read the report of the party. The Vice President reported on the objective of the creation of the party in 1979 in Dakhil under the leadership of the late Hassan Goulet Abtidon. Today, he said in his speech, we have a party that has 4 years of existence, of labor, of work, of unity, and the problem that arose for our country and for our people. The RPP has demonstrated the unity of the country, he said. The development it has put in place, which today we already see the premises, has continued. The Prime Minister. If we have to make a historical reminder, we had after independence several parties that all advocated for freedom and for the independence of the country. All parties were therefore parties that wanted independence. Once the independence obtained, we had to think about it. It is what our seniors did. If we had to keep the existing parties, such as the summer, there was a risk of division within this party, he said, in that of the Djiboutian population. So together, these parties decided, under the leadership of the late President of the Republic and President of the party, RPP, Hassan Goulet Abtidon, they created this party that you see today. This party was born in Dakhil, the City of Unity, has concluded the Prime Minister, Vice President of the party, RPP. The MINFOP has offered sports equipment to the organizing committee of the 40th anniversary festivities of the locality of Mulud. This sports equipment, consisting of jerseys, cups, and many medals and other accessories, were given by the head of the school sports department, Mr. Mohammed Umar, and other officials of the school sports department. The donation ceremony took place in the presence of the Dakhil Region Prefect, Mr. Mohammed Sheiko, and a local elected representative. The two officials expressed their sincere thanks to the MINFOP. The leaders of the organizing committee of the 40th anniversary of the locality of Mulud warmly thanked the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, who responded to the call of the village of Mulud to the occasion of its 4 years of existence. The celebration will be held tomorrow, Thursday, the 40th anniversary of the establishment of a village born under the auspices of the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. In this context, we give you a brief overview of this village.
At the beginning today, an agricultural village. This is how we could present Mulud, created in 1979 with 24 families. An experience because these families who fled the wars and famines of the time and hence the border had to initiate agro-pastoralism to Djibouti's nomadic families in order to equip them for working the land. In short, a sedentary lifestyle that gave birth 40 years later to Mulud, a village whose sole being has been agricultural. Indeed, if at the beginning each family received 2,500 meters cubed of cultivable land, Mulud now will live essentially from the production of these 24 gardens in the village. Due to its good weather and the fertility of its land, Mulud, which is a favorable environment for agriculture, produces quality fruit and vegetable in all seasons. There is an agro-pastoral cooperative that assists producers to sell their goods in the various Djibouti and Dikulas markets. In addition, goats and camels are also reared, which is another very lucrative activity in the locality of Mulud. Its geographical position on the transit road linking Djibouti to Galafi is also a major asset, promoting trade in animals, dairy and agricultural production. As a result, the reason why Mulud remains essentially agricultural, which makes this experience a total success.
Still in the village of Mulud, let's follow another report highlighting the pastoral agriculture that characterizes this region.
The sub-prefecture of Mulud is made up of the village of Mulud and its peripheries such as Dadadalu, Ira, Ladu, Gablalu, Arwo and Turkailo. Its population is estimated at about 5,000 inhabitants and is located about 100 kilometers from the city of Djibouti. Due to its location, the village has a mild climate that is favorable for livestock and agriculture. There are banana, mango, guava, and orange fruit trees. The village is located on a busy road and is a kind of crossroads since all vehicles serving the region and the hinterland as well as border towns pass through Mulud. This is the RN1 linking Djibouti to Galafi, which also crosses the village of Mulud. Thus, it constitutes a summering place appreciated by the population coming from the capital. Mulud, which now extends over 4 kilometers cubed, was originally an agricultural area created in 1979. In this agricultural area, 12 Djibouti families and 12 other immigrant families were reunited, refugees fleeing the drought or wars that were raging at the time in the Horn of Africa. This agricultural area was therefore to serve as a school where refugees, former farmers, were to introduce Djibouti families to the cultivation of the land. Parcels of the land have been made available to them, and sufficient drinking water has been provided for crops, livestock, and people. Thus was born what became 40 years after the village of Mulud, which was erected as a sub-prefecture in 2003.
That was the report of Tariq Annan on the village of Mulud. Now moving on with the national news, after the localities of the region, deputies of the Ali Sibih region closed their tour at the Ali Sibih Regional Council. Upon their arrival on the spot, the parliamentarians of the regions were warmly welcomed by the Regional Council President Mr. Umar Ahmed Wais and the Asajog's population wise men, representative of the civil society, women and young people mobilized massively to give a warm welcome to the members of the National Assembly. In the Great Hall of the Regional Council, the parliamentarians of the region had a meeting with the population of Asajog. The main objective of the meeting is to breathe new life into the working relationship between elected representative and the population of the regions. In his speech, the president of the Regional Council welcomed Ali Sabih, the parliamentary delegation. After several hours of fruitful debates, MPs from the region inaugurated a regional office that represents parliamentarians on the premises of the Regional Council. The initiative was welcomed by community and associated leaders present. The idea of this regional office is elected representative of the citizens. Members must know the needs of their constituents and know that they expect that we meet their needs, they said. As part of an official working visit, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, visited the People's Republic of China on February 21, 2019. The minister was accompanied by the Minister of Economy and Finance, Ilyas Moussa Douali, President of the Port Authorities, Abakar Umar Hadi, and senior officials of the Ministries of Finance and Foreign Affairs. During this visit, the delegation of Djibouti met with Vice President Wang Qinchong and Wang Yi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of China. This visit, initiated by the Republic of Djibouti, was an opportunity for the two friendly countries to take stock and continue the efforts made by both parties to consolidate the achievement of their cooperation. Their very fruitful partnership, the issue of depth of a transboundary railway and water supply projects, and the project of the new free zone were discussed at length. This subject has been at the center of discussions and concerns as well the social projects underway in Djibouti. We have this information: obituary, the death of Abba Yazid Badri, the war of music loses its icon. The war of Djiboutian music is in mourning. Abba Yazid Muhammad Badri died in the morning of Wednesday, February 20, 2019 at Peltier General Hospital, where he was admitted yesterday. Born in February 17, 1961, the late Abba Yazid Badri began singer-songwriter career in the 1980s. He leaves a monumental work behind him with a repertoire of songs from the plays and had the distinction of singing in all the community languages of the Republic of Djibouti. He was also stationed at the Radio Television of Djibouti in the program and animation, as well as the production of radio and television. The famous singer, who had been ill for several years, had not appeared on the musical and theatrical scene since his evacuation to Canada for care. His death is a great loss for his family and all artists and for the Djiboutian population. He also leaves a widow and 3 children. Upon hearing the death of the great artist Abba Yazid Badri, the entire political class addresses their deepest condolences to the family of the late Abba Yazid Badri, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the President of the National Assembly Muhammad Ali Hamid, Minister of Communication Abdi Yusuf Suge, Minister of Culture Momin Hassan Barre, the Minister of Education Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, former Prime Minister Dileta Mohammed Dileta, Secretary General of the Prime Minister Naguib Abdullah, Djibouti's Ambassador to Germany Adan Mohammed Dileta, the Prefect of Dakhil Mohammed Sheikho Hassan, Awok Hassan Dabele, and the Prefect of Tajur Abdul Malik Mohammed, the Chairman of the Council of Tajur Mr. Umar Hussein, addressed their deepest condolences following the death of the great singer of Djibouti, Abba Yazid Badri, and prayed the good God to welcome him to his eternal paradise. In these circumstances, touches on the disappearance of this great artist employed on the radio television of Djibouti, the director of the RTD and the entire staff of the RTD shares the grief of the family experiencing and addresses their most saddened condolences to the family of the late Abba Yazid Badri and to the whole family of Djiboutian artists. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This other obituary, we regret to announce the death of the CEO of the Etablissement Wasil, Saïd Moqbel Saïd Wasil. last night at 8 p.m. at the Al-Rahma Hospital at the age of 85. The late Saeed Moqbil was at the head of the establishment Wasil for 1 year. The Wasil Group, one of the largest family-owned companies, has been established in Djibouti for more than 40 years. The late Saeed Moqbil, along with his brothers, is one of the pillars that has diversified the activities of the establishment Wasil, particularly in the furniture, hardware, and food sectors, among others. A company that has been involved for decades in the economic development of the country. The deceased, a modest man with his hands in his heart, his peers call him a loyal and a fair businessman. The deceased was buried this afternoon at the PK-12 cemetery. He leaves behind a widow and 8 children and several small children. May the Almighty Allah welcome him into his eternal paradise. Moving on with the world news, 200 families are trapped in the last zone, still controlled by the Islamic State group in eastern Syria, and are prevented from leaving. Alarm Tuesday, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights said.
Families are trapped in the last zone still controlled by the Islamic State group in eastern Syria and are prevented from leaving. Alarm Tuesday, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. The RS seems to prevent families from leaving, potentially a war crime by the Islamic State, said Rupert Colville, spokesperson for the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. In a press briefing on Tuesday, February 19, he said that 200 families are trapped in the last area still controlled by the Islamic State group in eastern Syria and are prevented from leaving by jihadists.
After Pakistan, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman visits India. The Crown Prince is on Wednesday on a state visit to India as part of a nation tour to show that he remains a key player in the diplomatic arena. Well, that's all for this news. Thank you for joining us for this edition and have a good night.